Yes, that is cheese, and that's what we're making today. Oh, but it's what's underneath that counts. We're making a leftover ham and cheese casserole. Check that out. Of course, now I didn't actually have leftover ham, but we'll get to that in a bit. So let's dive in and make us a casserole. Let's pull out some ingredients. I've got some chopped up ham. I had to use it, so that's where this recipe comes in. We need some milk. I've got Parmesan and Gruyere cheese shredded up, about a cup-ish each. And thank you, Abby, for shredding that up for me. Some elbow noodles. I mean, you can pretty well use any kind of pasta you want. Cream of mushroom soup, some garlic, some pepper, some onions chopped up, about a cup-ish worth, and some room temperature cream cheese. And I'm sure there's a couple other things we're going to need. We'll get to that. First off, our noodles. Pot with some water, a little bit of salt. We'll get them to boil. While we're working on that and waiting for that to boil, let's get our ham ready. So this is a package of cubed ham I had in the fridge. Now you need at least 2 cups for this, preferably 3. I got about 1.75 cups, I think, by the time I'm done. This is just leftover ham I had in the fridge that I wanted to use up. You know, you got to use what you got in the fridge. So ideally you want to have it like a ham for dinner and lots of ham leftovers. That would be what you would want to use. But this works out for now, and believe me, it did work out. So we put the ham aside. Now our water is boiling. Yippee. Let's get our elbow noodles into the water. That's about 8 ounces, half a pack. Make sure to give them a stir because they're going to stick to the bottom of the pan if you don't. A little bit of oil into our pan. Let that get kind of warm. You can see the steam from the macaroni in the forefront. There's our onions all chopped up. And we're going to kind of sweat them down. We don't want them super brown, but we do want them soft. Oh, and this wasn't actually part of the recipe. I just wanted to put onions in it. Our macaroni's done, so let's dump her out. We're going to put it in the strainer, leave it in the sink till we need it. Ooh, that's a lot of steam. We'll leave it there. If you want, put some cold water on it. Doesn't really matter. Room temperature cream cheese, 8 ounces. Now of the cup and a half of cheese, that is about half of it from the Parmesan and half from the Gruyere. Save the rest of that cheese because we're going to use that to top the casserole at the end. Our cream mushroom soup plops out. Looking good so far. 1.5 cups of whole milk. Listen, I only had 2%. I think it worked out okay. But if you really need to, add a little cream and that'll kind of get it up to snuff. So we've got it on about halfway. Mix it around. Let's put some pepper in. To your taste, of course. Garlic, same thing. Yeah, that's about 3/4 teaspoon for both. And we're just going to mix until we get it pretty close to completely melted. And while we're at it, we're going to throw our onions in. Doesn't that look good? I sure think it is, but for some reason I can't get the onions out of the pan. Seems to be taking forever. There we go. And now we're just going to incorporate that into our cheesy mix. And in goes our ham. Look at that. This is looking good already. You could probably just eat that out of the pot. Mix it around. Get it nice and incorporated. That's good. Let's take it off the stove. Here's our tinfoil pan we're going to be making this in. And in goes our elbow noodles. Of course, like I said, you can run it with cold water. I didn't, so you get that, a nice sculpture. But nothing a spoon isn't going to stop because it's only been sitting there about 5 minutes. So it's all nice and choppy chop. Now we take our cheese mixture from the stove and try and spread it around as neatly as we can. Come on, let's get everything out. I don't want to let anything not go into this, so there you go. We're just going to smooth it around so it's fairly even. You don't want a big glop in one spot and nothing in the other, and I want to make sure it gets into the corners too. That's looking pretty good. You know, like a souped up mac and cheese. But I don't think that's actually what it ends up. Because you could do this with just about any kind of meat and any kind of cheese. This is just the recipe I had. So here comes our Parmesan and the Gruyere. And I didn't think that was enough cheese, so into our cheddar jack shredded mix, and I threw, probably another half cup. Into the oven, it's going to go 350 for about 30 minutes. Until it gets nice and melty and kind of looks something like that. Let's get it on a plate, and there you go. That's not to disappoint. And when I served it for dinner, not only did my daughter like it, which I knew she would, and asked for it again, 3 other people that night told me how much they appreciated that ham and cheese dish. That's a compliment as far as I'm concerned, so it must have been good. You got to try it. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.